It's now time for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson. This edition of Trivia Tracks is brought to you by Ouachita Valley Respiratory Care, where you can breathe a little easier, and Beth Smith at Edward Jones. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC. You would be surprised how many films in Hollywood are started without being finished. Here are some that never made it onto the big screen. Director Stanley Kubrick was a perfectionist who researched the life of Napoleon Bonaparte for years before he decided to begin filming it. In 1968, he set aside 4 years to make a movie about the French leader, simply called Napoleon. He read dozens of books, organized his research into thousands of index cards, churned out the script over the course of a year, and scouted locations in portions of Western and Eastern Europe. He also hired 75,000 extras to play soldiers, ordered 20,000 gallons of fake blood, and commissioned 4,000 costumes for the main cast, making it one of the largest productions ever. Jack Nicholson was Kubrick's choice to play Napoleon, but while Kubrick was doing research, another Napoleon movie, Waterloo, starring Rod Steiger, beat him to theaters in 1970. When Waterloo bombed at the box office, Kubrick decided to scrap the project, which he slated to be released in 1972 altogether. He ended up making A Clockwork Orange instead. Years later in 2016, HBO finally got Kubrick's unrealized project off the ground, producing a miniseries called War and Peace. Kubrick died in 1999. In 1979, Columbia Pictures asked Steven Spielberg to produce a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That didn't interest him, so he came up with the idea for a different movie, Night Skies. Spielberg based the story on the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, where a Kentucky family claimed that they had been terrorized by gremlin-like aliens. Spielberg had heard the story from ufologist J. Allen Hynek while doing research for Close Encounters. John Sayles was brought in to write the script, though Spielberg and screenwriter Melissa Matheson thought the only best part of the script was the relationship between a boy and an alien. Spielberg decided to cancel the project and produce E.T., the extraterrestrial, based on his and Matheson's conversation. The plot about the terrorized suburban family became the basis for Poltergeist. In 1992, John Carpenter made plans to develop a remake of the 1954 classic The Creature from the Black Lagoon for Universal, which produced the film. He hired Bill Phillips to write the script, while Rick Baker was hired to create the 3D model of the creature, but the project was never greenlit. A recent development of another remake surfaced when Universal's Dark Universe was announced, but may have been shelved indefinitely due to the critical and financial failure of their 2017 remake of The Mummy. In 1960, MGM toyed with the idea of doing an all-male remake of their 1939 hit The Women, appropriately titled Gentlemen's Club. The plot would have involved a man who recently discovers among his friends that his wife is having an affair with another man, and after going to Reno to file for divorce and begin a new life, he later finds himself doing what he can to rectify matters later on when he discovers that the other man is only interested in money and position, and he decides to win his true love back. The project ended up being shelved. Till next time, I'm Price Robertson. Amazed by today's trivia? Then join me every Monday through Friday morning for Trivia Tracks on Fox Sports Camden 97.1.